Have you ever felt like life has placed a mountain in front of you that you simply can't climb? A struggle that seems impossible to overcome? Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you may be the very thing that changes your life forever. God is not finished with you yet. You may feel weary. You may feel like your dreams have been delayed, your prayers unheard. But child of God, you are standing on the edge of something miraculous. The trials you face today are not roadblocks. They are stepping stones to something greater. So stay with me until the very end, because what you hear in the next few moments might be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. The struggle, when life feels unfair. There are times when we look around and wonder, why them, Lord? Why do others seem to prosper while I struggle? Maybe you've worked tirelessly, yet the rewards seem distant. Maybe you've prayed for healing, but the pain lingers. Maybe you've given everything to those you love, only to feel unappreciated and forgotten. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who spent his life doing everything right. He worked hard. He loved his family. He honored God. Yet, when the storms of life came, it seemed as if he had been abandoned. Sounds familiar? But here's the truth. God's silence is not his absence. In your darkest moments, he is working behind the scenes. What looks like a delay is actually divine preparation. Pattern interrupt. Have you ever put something in the oven and then stood there staring at it, waiting for it to bake? No matter how much you watch it, the process takes time. And if you pull it out too soon, it won't be ready. God's timing is the same. He is refining you, shaping you, preparing you. The question is, are you willing to trust him in the process? The breakthrough, when God moves. Let me remind you of this. Some of the greatest victories come after the longest battles. Joseph was thrown into a pit. He was betrayed, enslaved, falsely accused, and imprisoned. For years it seemed as though everything had fallen apart. But in one moment, God elevated him from the prison to the palace. The very trials that seemed to destroy him were actually the tools God used to prepare him for greatness. Here's what you must remember. Your struggle is not a sign of defeat. It is proof that God is up to something big in your life. The sickness, the financial hardship, the heartbreak, it's not your end. It's the setup for your testimony. God is about to turn what was meant for harm into something extraordinary. Pattern interrupt. Imagine walking into a pitch-black room. At first you can't see anything, but the longer you stand there, your eyes adjust, and suddenly you begin to see what was always there. Faith works the same way. Just because you can't see God's plan right now doesn't mean it's not unfolding before your very eyes. Hold on. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. The call, walking in God's abundance. So what do you do now? You don't quit. You don't retreat. You don't let fear control your life. Instead, you rise up. You claim the promises of God because He did not create you to live in lack. He created you for abundance, for purpose, for a life overflowing with His blessings. Let me remind you of Deuteronomy 28:13. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail. You shall be above only and not beneath, if you heed the commandments of the Lord your God. This is your inheritance. Stop walking like a beggar when you are a child of the King. Pattern interrupt. You wouldn't walk into a 5-star restaurant, sit down at a table, and then ask the waiter if you're allowed to eat, would you? No, you'd place your order confidently, knowing that a meal is prepared for you. Why then do we hesitate when it comes to God's promises? He has already prepared the table. You just have to take your seat. I know some of you are at a crossroads right now. You're standing between faith and fear, between hope and despair. But listen to me. God has already gone ahead of you. Your next step is not to shrink back in doubt, but to walk boldly forward. So take courage. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised the dead, He is with you. If this message stirred something in your heart, don't stop here. There's more that God wants to reveal to you. Click on the next video about God's message and let His word continue to strengthen your faith. Your breakthrough is coming. Stay faithful, stay expectant, and above all, keep walking in victory.